Okay, it is 4:01. We will call this meeting of the board in order. We have a quorum present. If we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Michelle, roll call, please.
Dr. Dave Bardo. Here. Bobby Braun. Jill Maddock-Nelson. Here. Kristen Mattmiller. Andy Mary.
Yes.
Angie Schreiber. Katie Schrader. Catherine Solon. Here. Danny Pyatt.
Here. Do we have anybody signed up for public comment? Okay, item number 2, letter A, potential short-term borrowing. I will be looking for a motion, please.
I move the board to approve the potential short-term borrowing up to the amount of $1,500,000.
Motion has been made by Dr. Bardo. Would you like to speak to your motion?
I'd like Kelly to speak to the motion.
Okay.
Okay.
Kelly, you want to pull that mic over to you, please?
Can you hear me now? It's difficult to tell. Oh, there we go. Okay, so on our topic summary sheet, I did provide a background of several different reasons why a district may short-term borrow. 2 of them are particularly pertain to us. Cash flow fluctuations along with timing of revenue and expenditure. So while the district has not short-term borrowed in the last couple of years, we wanted to, due to the turnover, and not interruption of the flow of the business office, but we just wanted to make sure that because of the turnover and things like that in the operations of the business office, we wanted to make sure we were extra safe, and have the potential short-term borrowing in place in case there was something odd that came up that was unexpected. But due to our cash flow analysis, it is not something that we are anticipating happening. But if something does happen, we want to make sure that we do not have an interruption of cash flow. So short-term borrowing is a temporary solution that manages financial gaps and provides the necessary funds until the expected revenues are received. So remembering during our budget meeting, we showed how the different payments come throughout the year and how our cash flow fluctuates due to expenditures and revenues coming in. So based on our comprehensive cash flow projections, our anticipated financial position does not necessitate borrowing that we can foresee. However, we are inclined to establish short-term borrowing arrangements as a prudent measure just to safeguard against any potential unforeseen gaps. So we would be looking at opening our line of credit for $1.5 million, and this has been done in collaboration with PMA, who we have worked with. They also are not anticipating that we have any of that, but they thought just to be safe, this would be an adequate amount to have ready to be drawn upon in case you need it until 6/30/24, and it would mature on 11/1/2024. We would only incur interest if this line of credit was drawn upon. So that is really key. And a line of credit for the school district will serve as a pre-approved financial resource available for use when necessary, offering flexibility in accessing funds without immediate interest charge until utilized. So the interest is based on a floating rate, which is why there is a floor and ceiling. The ceiling is set extremely high at 22%, but that is not even expected to touch that, but is what they have for their range as the bank. But just to put that in perspective, the current rate right now is 7.32%, and that was as of 11/6. So they do go through just to be safe, I guess. Are there any questions regarding short-term borrowing or any questions regarding this before we get?
So what is our cash on hand today?
I can give that number to you, but I don't have the exact amount of cash on hand as of today. And is that we're giving to- So I'm not gonna have that exact number for you right now.
Okay. What are the fees associated with short-term borrowing?
So we would not have interest charges unless we would be actively drawing upon the funds, which would mean that if we had a gap in how much we have in our fund balances, which was expected to be positive $2 million, so it's a pretty significant change that would have to happen within the business office cash flow in order for us to even draw upon that. But there might be a small fee regarding attorney fees that would have had to be associated with the bank to draw the actual agreement up. But the significant interest fees would not happen unless we draw upon that.
But offhand, you don't know what that fee for the attorney fees to draw the loan up are?
No, but I could call Robert. He's on standby. If you'd like to, I can call him and find out those exact fees. But he had told me that it wouldn't be anywhere, it would be around a couple $100 is what he told me when I asked him that.
Okay, that's fine.
Are there any other questions for Kelly?
And when you ask specific questions like what is our exact cash on hand today, we have so many bills going in and out every single day. To have an exact balance, we would have to pull that like, as of right now in order for us to have an exact balance. But I can get that for you.
Doesn't our accounting program do that? I mean,
We have about 19 different bank accounts, and we also have several different unassigned and assigned fund balances. So when you look about exact cash on hand that would be used for payroll or these different bills coming through federal funds, coming through the different funds that we have, including Fund 10, we would have to look through all of those things and get you the exact amount of money that we would have in the bank accounts that we would be used for the different types of bills that are coming through every day.
okay. Thank you.
Kelly, can you just clarify or provide information to the board in the work that you have been doing with your other business managers? Is that typical practice to have that number of checking accounts?
No, very good.
And would you guess that that would cause also more lapse in being able to maybe provide information like that
100%.
to a board member if they were requesting it?
Yes. So all of the business managers that I have worked with in our region, so remembering that I've been in the seat for about 3 months, 2 months, coming into this position and having 19 different bank accounts with savings, checking, and several different accounts within accounts is something that is not typical whatsoever, and the business managers in our region and around the state are used to 1, maybe 2. So yes, that is very basic.
Thank
So
you.
you'll close some of those out in the future?
We are looking at all of the processes within the business office, and that is one of the many things that we're looking at, creating more efficient processes and simplifying to eliminate potential for errors and being able to balance out accounts quickly and easily. So yes, that is one of the things. I don't have a timeline on that, but we are working towards that.
Okay.
I guess I would say that the idea of us at least having a short-term borrowing plan there in case something happens that we would need it is important for the district and that we should pass this. I was also going to bring up the banks because I knew we had 19 banks. In my mind, we should have no more than 3 at the most. And the board also needs to know that there are accounts being used within our district where we talk Fund 10. How many of us know anything about Fund 13? I don't, and I was a school district administrator. Another one of a fund that's out there that we have that Kelly has told me that the other business managers in the area are saying, really? No one uses that. So there's not only banks, there's accounts within our system that need to go away. So anyway, we need to give Kelly the authorization to have this plan in place just in case we need it.
Any other questions?
And just for a little bit more clarification is, generally when you have short-term borrowing, it's for a payroll. So if you are going into a payroll and you might be having a small gap, everyone still gets paid. It's not like you're going to be using it for everyday bills just to keep the lights on or something like that. It would be a significant piece of or expenditures that would be critical to moving our district forward for that short term of, we're almost halfway through November, so our payments come through in December, so the likelihood that we're going to have to use this is very, very slim. But being new and coming into a district that has gone through significant turnover within the last month, and also had a business manager who was only here for 7 months before a business manager that was here for a long time and had a lot of stability, I just think that it's a responsible piece to make sure that we have a plan B in case something happens, that our people still get paid and our kids can still have teachers within the buildings to make sure.
And Kelly, what you've just said is what I've heard many times over the years from other business managers that sit in your seat, that's the purpose of the short-term borrowing, is to meet payroll in those gap times.
Yeah, it's not like it's just
It's not the day-to-day.
or something that you want to purchase. It's necessity pieces, and payroll would be one of the only ones that would fall under.
My only question you just answered in terms of the background or what led to coming with this request, so I appreciate that. It makes sense to me.
And the district did use the short-term borrow. This isn't something that was new to the district. It's only within the last 2, maybe 3 years. I'd have to look again within the...
We did every year, I believe, except for the last 2 that I've been on the board.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's not something that's been a long-term stability piece of where you haven't been short-term borrowing, and that was also something we took into account. Is the last 2 years we've also had ESSER funds. So, I mean, there's a lot of pieces that are brought forth when making a decision to have a plan B to ensure that our people get paid.
Okay, hearing no other questions or comments for the motion that's on the floor. One more time, the motion is, I move the board to approve the potential short-term borrowing up to the amount of $1.5 million. That's the motion on the floor, and I will ask Michelle to give us a roll call vote since we do not have our voting devices.
Yes.
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 Yes, and that motion carries. Item letter B, consideration of a motion to adjourn into closed session pursuant to section 19.85, 1A and F, and section 120.13, sections 1 and C of the Wisconsin State Statutes to conduct a student expulsion hearing. I would be looking for a motion. Motion has been made by Jill Maddock Nelson. Would you like to speak to your motion?
No, thank you.
Any questions or comments? Michelle will have a roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay, the board is now in closed session. We are now in open session, and we'll open the door. The action of the result of closed session is the board made a decision regarding the student expulsion of item letter B. I will entertain a motion to adjourn. I think I'll give it to Jill. Motion to adjourn by Jill. All in favor of adjourning, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. And we are now adjourned at 5:58 PM.